Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel. In this video, I have been asked to do a Tier 1 Garuda build for newer players. So here it is. Let's get into the little ins and outs of it. So obviously we have the Garuda, and Deadeye is the main perk on it, which weapon damage is increased based on how far you are from the target, capped at 80%. When your hull health is 40% or lower, increases armor by 500%, or 500 armor, and trimming is no longer cost crew stamina for 10 seconds. This effect has a cooldown of 40 seconds. Revolver is the perk that you want on the ship. Increases piercing weapon damage by 20%, so it's a piercing ship. Increases 30% when hitting a target with punctured. The long gun is no longer a top deck only weapon when equipped at the bow. Long guns equipped at the bow will deal 40% less damage and have 60% longer reload time. They really went to town nerfing this thing because it never used to be like that. There was a cooldown, or the reload time was a lot less than that. I think it was half. So and I think they're going to get it nerfed again, but I don't know. But anyway, it's still a very, very, very good ship. It hits very hard. It's just, if you're looking for a sniper ship, this is it. So let's get into the build. Weapons. Again, this is for people that are just starting out, or tier one guys that are kind of low on funds and don't have high end weapons. And I'll tell you what though, these long gun fives, they are cheap to build and they hit hard. Another great thing about these white weapons, especially, well, you can't say all of them are good because I've tried the Culverins and they are not very good, but the Bombard 5s and the Long Gun 5s are fantastic. The white weapons, you get 4 Ascension slots instead of 3, so you can load it up with all kinds of good stuff. So obviously, since this is a piercing weapon ship and everything, all of our perks are revolving around piercing, the long gun comes with piercing 1, and we're going to add on to that. But we're also going to do, what I like to do with most of my builds is have as many static, excuse me, static effects that I can put on something. So obviously we're going to have piercing, and then we're going to have combustion for explosive damage, and then I'm going to give it a little more firepower because we're losing some firepower off the front deck. Now, again, with the bow weapons, because it is no longer on the Garuda, the long guns are no longer a top deck weapon. So instead of only having 2, you actually have 6 long guns on the front of your ship. So if you do this right, you can really pummel people. And then we're going to go with amplified piercing because we already have amplified on the long gun. And then sail ripper. That's the key right there. That is a monster perk. I have heard that they might nerf this, and they probably will because it's very overpowered. But in the meantime, it is fantastic. Then on the port side, we have long guns again. This is long gun 5s all the way around. I wanted to make this cheap and easy as possible to do. So we have obviously piercing, and then we have combustion again, firepower again, then we have amplified piercing again, and sail ripper again. On the starboard side, we have piercing, sharpened, and this is where I changed it up a little bit. So we get our piercing damage, we get a little added piercing damage off of our piercing 1, and then we also still have explosive damage, but we're also going to do a little bit of health healing because the hull on this ship is not very healthy. It's not as bad as the Sandbuck, but it's not that good. So we need all the help we can get with it. So soul mending is a good one to have on it, and then second storm. This is an OP. I don't know if it's better than Sail Ripper. It depends on the situation because Second Storm is an AoE effect. All electric damage dealt by this weapon is also dealt to nearby target at 6.8% damage as electric damage. So this perk alone, you don't need another electric perk to use this. It already comes with electric damage built into it. So if you don't want to waste the slot, don't. But I usually do, just so I have that little extra electric damage. But this perk, if you have crowds of ships, if you've got a bunch of ships around you, this perk is fantastic. And then on the rear, we have Shock again to go with our starboard one. Sharpened again because it's a piercing weapon. And Soul Mending again to keep the ship alive. And Sail Ripper. This one I kind of went both ways with it. And especially since if you're trying to get away, Sail Ripper would definitely help you. And it definitely does, because it definitely breaks sails. And then our auxiliary weapon is the Little Grace 3, which you can get in the black market if you have 8s. If you don't, it's really up to you. I would just go with whatever mortar you can put on it. But the Little Grace 3 is definitely, I would say definitely a necessity with the ship. Especially since you're parked there, you're just sitting there, you're sitting duck. It's not fast, it doesn't move very well. It's made for sitting there and sniping. So you're not going to get away from, like, let's say mortars or anything if you're at a dead standstill. It's very slow off the line. So Little Grace 3, if you can afford it, definitely get it. But anything you could put in the auxiliary would definitely help. I would go, like I said, it all depends on what you can afford. If you can just afford any mortar, throw it on there. But again, I highly recommend a Little Grace 3 if you can swing it. Armor. This one is, a lot of people run this, and I put it on there because a lot of people run it. And the reason a lot of people run it is because of this. Increases weapon damage by 15% while hull health is above 75%. Now, keeping that hull health above 75% when you have these stats on this armor, this is why I don't like this armor. It doesn't have very good stats at all. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but 15% is 15%, as long as you can keep that health above 75%, which is rough. Unless, it's not so bad when you're doing what the ship's supposed to do and you're far away, 800 meters, somewhere around there, and sniping, then you're good. You get in close combat, it's real hard to keep that above 75%. So I would go with that. That is also, everything that we have on the ship, for the most part, is in the black market. Or, excuse me, in the black market or at Blackwood, or you can craft it. My recommendation, if you have black prints, use black prints too. This one, I mean, it does work. You get 15% extra damage, but you're not getting very much in armor. Buccaneer's Oath with this ship, because you're destroying ships so fast. Like I said, if you're fighting quite a few ships, Buccaneer's Oath is the key. That is the best PvE armor in the game. Specifically because of Blood and Gold. Destroying a target confers the Blood and Gold status on your ship, which increases weapon damage and armor by 25% for 30 seconds. Now, every ship you shoot, this is just going to keep procking and procking and procking. So if you have a ton of ships around you and you're killing them, this will never end. You'll have 25% the entire time as long as you keep killing ships. It's a great armor. Like I said, for PvE, it's fantastic. Again, a lot of people use this because they like that 15%. I have it on there just to show it, but it's definitely not my favorite. I like a little more armor. Let's go into the furniture. Like I said, everything in here except for these two. This one, the high velocity kegs. I just put that on there for the piercing. because all of our weapons are piercing. Increases secondary damage of piercing weapons by 15%. Increases maximum range of piercing weapons by 8%. If you can find somebody that has that, or you have it, definitely put it on it, because you're using all piercing weapons. It's a piercing ship. That's the way you want to go. This one also, if you don't have it, see if you can get one from somebody, because I put this on every ship. Every one of my builds has this. Increases max hull health by 7%, increases armor rating of equipped armor by 7%. Anything you can do to help the ship, you definitely need to do. So our major furniture is Mark of the Wolf. And usually you put that on like a schooner or something like that, but because we have explosive damage on every single one of our weapons, that's why I did it, so we can have this, because we get the triggers in a blaze effect. The target also increases shell shock charge by 100% for 10 seconds, increases fire rate of explosive weapons by 20%, and increases damage to structures by 5%. Now that increased fire rate is why I have this on here, and why I put explosive on every one of my weapons so I can put this on here, is because of that massive nerf that the front guns got, to kind of compensate for that. So we got 20% off of that already. And then we also have another, where is it? I'm sorry. The fusing station is another one that we want to put on there for our bow weapons. Decreases reload time of front weapons and rear weapons by 12%. So we're gaining 32% back by those two pieces of furniture, which is great. It also increases secondary damage dealt by the front and rear weapons by 15%, so that's really good too. So our next piece of furniture is the Ramrod Workshop. Put that on every ship as well. This furniture is one of the best in the game. Decreases reload time of broadside weapons by 15%. Increases secondary damage dealt by broadside weapons by 10%. So it's really good. I put this on here, the float collars. This is another one. If you don't have it, it's not a deal breaker. I have it on there just to keep that little Grace 3 out there a little bit longer, and that's it. You don't need it, but your main furniture that you want to concentrate on are the ones that you can get, and that is Mark of the Wolf. Blackwood has it. Ramrod Workshop. Blackwood has it. And the fusing station you get from the Honorless event. The other three, it's just whatever you can put in there to help the ship out. You either want to put something for piercing that you have, or hull health. If you don't have anything else for hull health, you could put, where are you? You can put double planked hull. You get an extra 5% max hull health, which is nice. If you're looking for more firepower, if you have powder kegs, especially for the front, to gain back a little more power out of it, you can do that. There's you've got 3 slots in there where you just kind of like dealer's choice, where you could put whatever you can afford or can get your hands on. But these are my recommendations, and if you don't have them, not a huge deal, but this and this and this needs to be on the ship. And that's going to do it for that. Let's see what she can do. What do we want to do here? Start off with fangs. And then I'd like to do that Mazurja event for you to show you that, but I'd like to do it by myself, where somebody's not coming in on it. So there's your 6 long guns on the front. It's awesome. Almost took half their health. And this is why you want Sail Ripper too, because you could just target their sails and just go to town. It's great for longer range. Another good perk, if you don't want to use that, is long arm. But I highly recommend using Sail Ripper. Didn't have a chance. You see, even with the nerfs, how fast those guns reloaded. That's that furniture. And like I said, you definitely need that stuff on there. So let's pick this up. And we'll go see if we can do that event. Well, all right. Apparently, they want to play with us. I don't know why, but this Mitsurgia is really, really heavily, I mean, they've really got the hell stacked up on this thing. It takes a lot of punishment. See, when they start getting close, drop the little grace.
Ready! Rip them to pieces!
Put grace on here. Now remember too, this is not a close fighting ship. The longer you are away, the more power you're going to generate from this thing. Sail Ripper on them. Waves are not helping me.
We rule these waters!
New attack on them. Just turn it around. So now we're getting fired on. Over to our soul mending side. Brought a buoy again. See our health with that terrible hull on it? That little grace and a little bit of soul mending goes a long way. I don't want to keep it too long for you, so we might end it here. I just wanted to show you the power of this ship and what it can do with basic weapons. This is a very, very powerful build. I just took it into Tier 2 as well, but I wanted to show you in Tier 1 since that's where you're going to be at. It does very well in both. I've had no issues with it in Tier 2 at all. I actually really like it. I use those long gun 5s on a lot of my ships. They're great weapons and very, very cheap, like I said. So if you're in a bind and you don't have any of the purple weapons or anything like that, even if you do, these long gun 5s are really good. But if you liked the video, if you could please smash the like button and subscribe, and I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you on the next one.